For 2 years, my father sent $600 from overseas. But my husband gambled it away for 2 years. My father sent $600 monthly from his post abroad. But my husband squandered it all on gambling, leading me to freeze our accounts and take legal action. For those 24 months, I believed our hardships stemmed from life's challenges, meager wages, towering bills, and birthdays marked with thrift store trinkets. But the reality was far more sinister. Every missed school outing, every meal we skipped, every late-night delivery gig wasn't just bad luck, it was betrayal, and the betrayer shared my bed. I froze, holding up the phone to show him our daughter, Lila, laughing with her friends. "What, $600, Dad?" My husband's eyes widened, his coffee mug nearly slipping from his grip. My father's face on the screen turned tense. "The birthday funds, love," he said. "I send them every month like always." I let out a nervous, confused chuckle. "Dad, you must be mistaken. You haven't sent anything. I would have thanked you." My father's expression grew grim. "Mistaken. Alara, I've wired $600 every month for 2 years. For the kids, for birthdays, for clothes, for whatever you need." He stepped out of view, returning with a thick folder. 24 transfers, one each month, October, November, December. He held up document after document to the camera. $600 monthly, routing number ending in 4782. My heart stopped. My husband, Simon, had a separate account for his work expenses. "For my grandkids," Dad said, his voice cracking. "So you wouldn't struggle while I'm stationed here, so they could have proper birthday parties, Christmas gifts, and you could shop for groceries without worry." Each word hit me like a punch. I recalled Lila's thrift store birthday decorations, her sad eyes when I promised a better celebration next year. The nights I went hungry so the kids could eat. The weeks we relied on instant noodles. The field trips they missed. "I'm in a barracks in Kuwait," Dad said softly, "sending half my contractor's salary so you don't have to struggle." I glanced at Simon. His face was ashen, hands shaking. Coffee spilled at his feet, a silent admission. 2 years, I whispered, my mind racing despite the shock. $600 a month. The room spun. That's $14,400. While I sold my grandmother's necklace to buy Lila's school supplies. While I worked late-night delivery shifts to afford groceries. While I told the kids homemade birthdays were more meaningful. Simon came home late from extra hours, with bloodshot eyes and fresh excuses. "You stole my father's money while our kids went without," I said, voice low. The silence was heavy, broken only by Lila's giggles from the backyard. "I was going to tell you," Simon stammered. "Tell me what?" I snapped. "That you pocketed $600 a month while I juggled 3 jobs, while I told Lila we couldn't afford a store-bought birthday cake." I grabbed his phone. "Show me where the $14,400 went." His hands trembled as he unlocked it. I checked the account. Deposits from Kuwait followed by withdrawals. Casino ATM, $250. Casino ATM, $350. "I have a problem," he muttered. "You had $600 coming in monthly from my father while I skipped meals," I said quietly. "You held me as I cried about failing our kids. You told me we needed to budget better while you were stealing." Dad's voice cut through, cold and steady. "Simon, did my granddaughter eat instant noodles on her birthday while you had my money in your pocket?" Simon couldn't meet his gaze on the screen. "I'm 7,000 miles away in a desert," Dad said, his voice breaking. "You made my daughter believe I forgot them." I scrolled through Simon's transactions again. "These casino withdrawals," I said, voice shaking. "July 15th, that was Lila's first soccer match. August 3rd, her dance recital. You weren't stuck in traffic or at work. You were gambling while I sat alone at our daughter's biggest moments, making excuses for why Daddy wasn't there." He stared at the floor, ashamed. Then Christmas hit me like a tidal wave. "Last year," I said, voice breaking, "I told the kids Santa had a tough year. Lila cried, thinking she'd done something wrong. She came home after seeing her friends' gifts and asked what she did wrong. She made a list of ways to be better so Santa would love her next time." My anger surged. "You had $600 in December, another $600 in November, $1,200, while I wrapped dollar store toys in old newspaper, while our perfect daughter spent a year trying to be better because you made her believe she wasn't good enough for Christmas." Lila ran inside, her paper crown slipping. "Mommy, can we have cake now?" she asked, looking at the homemade cake I decorated at 2 a.m. after my delivery shift. Yes, baby. Go get your friends. When she left, I turned to Simon. $600 a month for 2 years while your daughter wore shoes with holes, while your son couldn't join soccer, while I skipped lunch daily to save $5. Dad's voice sliced through. I'm on the next flight home, emergency leave. He looked at Simon. 24 months of wire fraud, Simon. Simon's face paled. Alara, pack the kids' things tonight, Dad said, softer now. You're done struggling alone. I'll be there in 18 hours. I stared at Lila's birthday crown, made of paper plates and foil. She didn't know her grandfather had sent money for a real one. You didn't just steal money, I said calmly. You stole their relationship with him. Lila thinks her grandpa doesn't care. You took that from her. Dad was pulling on his uniform jacket in the background. Mom was on another phone. I heard forensic accountant. 18 hours, Dad said. And Simon, you better not be there when I arrive. He ended the call. When I turned to Simon, his face suggested he wasn't leaving quietly. My fingers gripped the counter so hard my knuckles whitened as Simon stepped toward me, jaw clenched, fists tight. The birthday guests laughed outside, and my husband looked ready to hurt me for the first time. I slid my phone under the counter and typed a quick message to Dad without looking. He's not leaving. Lila ran in, asking for juice boxes. I forced a smile that felt like shattering glass, grabbed the drinks from the fridge with shaking hands, and handed them to her. She skipped back outside, unaware her world was about to change. I texted my neighbor, asking if she was home in case I needed to get the kids out fast. She replied instantly, her door was open if we needed her. I felt a bit less alone. Simon watched me with calculating eyes, knowing I was planning something. Parents arrived to pick up their kids, and I greeted each at the door with forced cheer while Simon stayed in the kitchen. After the last child left, I locked the door slowly, bracing for what was next. Simon started ranting about how I didn't understand, promising to repay everything. I held up my hand, stopped him, and pressed record on my phone, placing it on the counter where its red light blinked like a warning. He paced, blaming work stress, vowing to get help tomorrow if I gave him another chance. I let him talk, the phone capturing every excuse. When he admitted to taking the money but called it borrowing, my stomach churned, but I kept my face neutral. When the kids came in asking about dinner, I told them we were having a special sleepover in Mommy's room, framing it as an adventure. They were thrilled, gathering stuffed animals and blankets while Simon watched from the doorway. After they settled with a movie on my laptop, I locked the bedroom door. Simon's footsteps echoed in the hall. He knocked once, hard enough to shake the frame, but stopped when I said the kids were listening. From the bathroom, with the faucet running to mask my voice, I called the non-emergency police line. The operator listened as I explained the situation, giving me a report number and offering a drive-by if I felt unsafe. Her calm voice steadied me as I jotted down the case number with trembling hands. Dad texted his flight details. He'd arrive at 2 p.m. tomorrow with a rental car booked. Mom messaged that she'd found a forensic accountant specializing in financial abuse, ready to start documenting everything. Knowing they were mobilizing eased the trapped feeling. I barely slept, checking the locks hourly and watching the kids sleep peacefully in my bed. At 3 a.m., I heard Simon in the garage. I noted the time and recorded the sounds. The door opening and closing twice, his truck idling for 20 minutes before he came back inside. I logged every detail in my phone for evidence. By morning, I got the kids ready for school as if nothing was wrong, keeping their routine intact. Lila asked why we had a sleepover. I said it was just for fun, braiding her hair with unsteady hands. Simon was passed out on the couch, surrounded by empty beer cans and cigarette butts. The timing of this video call felt too perfect. 2 years of payments, revealed right at Lila's birthday party with Simon sitting there. I took photos from 3 angles, capturing the mess around him as he pretended to want to fix things. The sunrise highlighted his priorities starkly, a father who stole from his children and drowned his guilt in alcohol. Lila asked if Daddy was sick. I said he was just tired, helping her with her jacket. My son grabbed his backpack, glancing at his father with confusion but saying nothing. We waited for the school bus, my grip on their hands tighter than usual, wondering how to protect them from this chaos. At the bank, I opened a personal account, switched my direct deposit, and transferred half the joint account balance, leaving Simon's share untouched. I screenshot the balance first for proof. Back home, Simon's car was still in the driveway, and I heard him snoring upstairs. I gathered vital documents, birth certificates, social security cards, insurance papers, into a folder and found his hidden account statements in his desk. The casino withdrawals spanned 3 years, not 2, with amounts escalating. I photographed each page and locked everything in my car trunk. Fraud alerts hit my phone while I was in the driveway. Simon was at a downtown ATM, draining $400 from our joint account. I called the bank, but the money was gone. They helped me freeze the account, and I saved screenshots of every alert. At school pickup, I informed the office of a family emergency, ensuring only I could pick up the kids. Lila's teacher mentioned she seemed anxious, asking during story time if everything was okay at home. I assured her we were managing, but the kids were safe. I emailed the principal about the custody situation, and she confirmed they'd only release the kids to me. Simon's texts flooded in during dinner prep, apologies, then anger accusing me of overreacting, then threats to take the kids if I didn't stop being dramatic. I screenshot every message, especially those with take. In an hour, his tone swung from remorse to blame to threats. I called legal aid and booked a meeting with Rose Donnelly for the next morning. She listened to my story and began preparing an emergency protective order, warning it might take days but praising my steps. She'd seen this pattern before. Theft, gambling, threats. I spent the afternoon documenting every detail, missed birthdays, nights I went hungry, field trips we couldn't afford. Writing it out felt like purging venom. Rose called it powerful evidence for the custody case. Around dinner, Simon realized I'd frozen the joint account and accused me of financial abuse via text. 20 minutes later, a $2,000 cash advance hit our credit card from a casino ATM. I froze the card, but the damage was done, pushing his theft to $16,400. During the kids' bath time, Dad called from his Germany layover, voice weary but focused, asking for updates. He choked up describing Lila's birthday party, with Mom in the background planning logistics. At 2:15 p.m. the next day, Dad arrived, dusty from travel, duffel bag in hand. I gripped the doorframe as the kids ran to him, screaming with joy. He scooped them up, his fierce gaze meeting mine over their heads, promising no one would hurt us again. Simon peered from the hallway but retreated when Dad saw him. Dad sent the kids to play outside, then spread bank statements, wire receipts, and emails on the kitchen table. Simon sat across from us as Dad listed each payment. October 15, $600 while Lila wore shoes with holes. November 3, $600 while they ate noodles. December 1, $600 while the kids thought Santa forgot them. Simon stared at the table, mumbling about addiction being a disease. Dad's glare silenced him. After reviewing all 26 transactions, Dad told Simon to pack and leave. Simon crossed his arms, claiming the house was his too. Dad called the police for a civil standby. 2 officers arrived within 20 minutes, advising Simon to pack and go to de-escalate. He stuffed clothes into a trash bag, yelling about his rights, but left under their watch. I couldn't sleep, so I created a poster board timeline. 1 column for our struggles, missed opportunities, times I said no to the kids, the other for Simon's casino withdrawals. Seeing Lila's missed field trip next to a $250 ATM withdrawal made me sick. Dad stayed up with me, brewing coffee, letting me process. At 3 a.m., the forensic accountant Mom hired called, revealing Simon's withdrawals often happened hours after Dad's deposits, with 2 additional transactions we'd missed, totaling $15,600 stolen over 26 months. At the police station, I filed a theft by fraud report with my timeline and evidence folders. Detective Dorian Vera reviewed everything, warning that proving intent would be tough since we were married. He advised focusing on family court first, using the criminal case as leverage. I appreciated his honesty, though it wasn't what I hoped. Lila's counselor, Genevieve Duval, met with her and shared a drawing Lila made. Herself with a big X and bad written below. She'd internalized blame for adult issues, thinking she was why Santa skipped them and Daddy left. Genevieve gave me phrases to reassure her. Mommy and Daddy's problems aren't your fault. You're loved no matter what. Simon's quick shift from remorse to threats felt rehearsed, like he'd manipulated others before. His sudden rehab offer when legal consequences loomed seemed too convenient. That night, Simon texted, offering rehab and therapy if I dropped all legal action and let him return. His manipulation was sickening. I forwarded the texts to Rose, who called it a typical tactic to avoid accountability and advised no direct contact. Dad, reading custody laws, grumbled about systems favoring abusers. We planned safety measures, installed recording apps, and prepared for worst-case scenarios. At 10:15 p.m. 3 nights later, Simon banged on the door, slurring demands to see the kids. Dad stood guard while I called 911. Lila woke, crying, and I comforted her upstairs. Police arrived in 8 minutes, informed Simon of the protective order, and warned him of arrest if he returned. A locksmith changed the locks the next morning, and we installed a video doorbell and motion sensor lights. We held a kid-friendly safety talk, explaining Daddy was staying elsewhere and to never open the door without me. Detective Vera requested permission to subpoena Simon's bank records and casino footage, building a fraud case. He found evidence of Simon's gambling predating Dad's payments by 5 years. Sorting mail, I found 3 unfamiliar notices, payday loan applications in my name for $5,000 using my social security number. I spent hours with credit bureaus, freezing my credit and filing identity theft reports with the FTC and police. Genevieve advised maintaining the kids' routines, regular meals, bedtimes, and our Friday movie nights. A man claiming to be Simon's addiction counselor, David Ditt, called, confirming Simon's outpatient program and supporting my decision to keep the kids separate during early treatment. At the temporary custody hearing, the judge reviewed Rose's evidence, granted me primary custody, and gave Simon supervised visits pending further review. She noted the financial abuse and mandated ongoing therapy for him. The prosecutor later explained that proving wire fraud was tricky due to marital asset laws, but the identity theft with payday loans was actionable. She'd pursue charges, though probation was likely. Dad set up a trust for the kids, accessible only by me with strict verification, before returning to Kuwait. Mom stayed another week to help. At Simon's first supervised visit, Lila sensed the tension, confused by the supervisor's presence, and had a meltdown afterward, crying for her daddy. Simon's emails alternated between guilt and blame, which I forwarded to Rose without reading fully. An eviction notice arrived. Simon hadn't paid rent for 2 months, pocketing $3,600. The landlord agreed to a payment plan, and Dad wired the funds. Every step felt like reclaiming control, but the weight of Simon's betrayal lingered, a wound that would take years to heal. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories. Get more experiences.